Okay everyone, Simon here from the Whales of Wall Street. Welcome aboard. We have a Zilliqa update here. Before we go into the chart, a couple of interesting moves from Zilliqa today in terms of some news, bits and bobs. So first of all, what on earth are these bears on our screen right now? Well, these are the first kind of NFTs through ZIL swap mechanism that's launched quite recently via the new ARK on a beta platform right now. So the bear market is a collection of 10,000 programmatically randomly generated NFT bears on the Zilliqa blockchain. So we'll go into the chart in a second, because this might be why we've had a bit of a spike today. Obviously everyone's trying to get involved in some of these interesting, I'll call them interesting, NFTs of bears. Multitude of different ones. I wouldn't say I have a favorite, but they're interesting, and I'm sure many of you out there will find these interesting also. But yes, there's not too many collections. I think that's the only one at the moment, but of course massive amount of volume of Zilliqa is being used just today, I think, in the bear market collection by Switch.io Labs. So Switch.io Labs, actually, to be fair, do have a multitude of fantastic collections across a multitude of different NFT platforms, so go check them out. But I for one am not quite interested just yet about this kind of thing, but we covered Zilbridge in a previous video. Go check that out if you need to know a bit more information on that integration and project. But of course this ARK is now essentially the NFT aspect of Zilliqa coming to life, and I'm sure it will become more and more popular. Zilliqa is an absolutely phenomenal platform, incredibly good in terms of cost effectiveness when you're purchasing and selling NFTs as you go along. But I thought I'd just share that bit of information out with you. And there's a bit of a roadmap aspect on here as well. If you go on zilswap.io in the ARK and then the about section, you can actually see what's going on in the days to come as well as the months to come as well. So obviously we just talked about the bear market, which did it launch today? That's crazy. So listing, biddings and offerings ongoing right now. And then 26th, there's loads of other ones. Dragon ZIL ducks. ZIL ducks would be interesting. I might get a duck, actually. I quite like ducks. Zilliqa Royale. So there's loads of projects going on. Of course, through NFTs, seeing the kind of prices that are being thrown at. So what we'll probably do in the next Zilliqa video, we'll maybe pick out a few of the really top end priced ones that have been going on in terms of selling. And November, quite interestingly for me, so I follow Engine quite a lot, ENJ on the exchange, and they have a massive aspect of gaming NFTs on there, the ability to mint and what they call melting as well. So as you buy and sell items, when you sell an item, you can actually melt it and turn it into something else. So that's really cool. But yeah, minting of NFTs directly on the ARK, individual and collection. So loads of really cool stuff going on with this ARK platform moving forward, and I'm really interested to see what this is. Multi-chain NFT marketplace. Could this be the integration and the interoperability across multiple blockchains? Could it be the opportunity when we're talking about like the metaverse and gaming, the aspect of NFTs being interoperable and bridged? This could be the start. Let's find out when that announcement comes, and we will definitely update you. Let's jump into the chart, guys. So what we see here, guys, is a nice movement upwards in the last 24 hours. So what we've gone from is the close yesterday of 10 cents, bang on just over 10 cents. And if you remember in the previous video, and we did actually talk about this being a really critical area of support. And ironically, since the last video, we've had the correction, but we blasted, we had a very nice 2-3 days here, floating with some, have we got closes? Pretty much the last 3 days, 4 days. Yeah, 4 days in a row of closes, hopefully today as well, of course, with the big shoot up. But I do believe we probably had an intake in preparation for these NFT platform launch, and including today, of course, with the bear market collection. By the way, let us know in the comments below if you've bought any bears. I'm really interested to know how much you paid for them and I don't have to give out massive detail, but I'm just interested to see how people found the the ZIL Arc application and the ability to either buy or sell the bears. Let us know what you got up to with those and what you plan to do with them. I'm really not quite sure still what some of these NFTs are for. I personally wouldn't have one of those on my wall at home in a digital format, but each to their own, guys, each to their own. So where are we right now? As a recording, floating just above this 11-cent mark. Now, generally speaking, if we can get a close over this 11 cents over the next day or two, I think there might be a bit more engagement further forward in relation to this ARK project, and especially with the projects we mentioned that are launching tomorrow as well. So I do think there might be a bit of an intake still into this asset as more and more people perhaps get really aware of this and interested and excited, especially if you're an NFT collector. You might see these prices go up a bit more, and maybe this is just what Zilliqa needed to put itself back on the map, as it were. I'm a full believer of Zilliqa. I'm a long-term holder. I've got mine in the Zilliqa wallet. I'm more than happy to be holding that for a good 3 or 4 years, unless something gigantic happens this year and I may have to pull some out from the staking rewards and sell them off or whatever. But for now, that's where mine are. Let us know where you've got your Zilliqa. Are you holding them on an exchange? Are you on the wallet? Or are you using them right now for NFT purchases? But like I said, this is the kind of action that you want to see with projects to have a bit of an influence on movements and charts, etc. But of course, for me, like I said, I'm holding and I'm happy to hold. But I love to see projects moving in the right direction. And I mean, just to reiterate, guys, let's just have a quick look at where we've come from here. So this low point here on the 29th of September, floating, I think, just around a low of 0.074. So we've had a nice shoot up as of right now to around about a 50% gain there. So that's absolutely fantastic move in 25-ish days. So long may that continue. If we have a look at the MACD here, I'm just going to zoom in just about here. We tried, I think, to have a mini little correction. Didn't happen. I think that's great momentum of the project, and the belief is finally coming back into here. And we had a nice intake. And I still strongly believe that is to do with the NFT launch, as well as, of course, just the general organic movement upwards anyway. We can just see the overlap slightly over the intake here on the histogram. You've got the MACDs here, so we've got a very nice bullish momentum right now. I don't want to see a gigantic increase. Like, I don't want to see that gap getting too big, because the last thing we want is another pile down correction afterwards. But I would like to see this kind of approach where we have a nice tail over, a bit of a correction and support mechanism before another uptake again. We're moving nicely in between this funnel right now that we drew previously, and we're hitting that middle mark now. So I do anticipate we might even potentially start moving towards this next level on the fib retracement around 12.7 cents, so arguably 13, and that might start seeing a bit of a wave up and down as profits perhaps taken in those small gaps, as well as just general momentum of trying to find support lines along the way. Because in reality, guys, I mean, if we look historically, of course we had some fantastic movement earlier in the year, but as we approach these higher levels, we're looking at very key detail areas that we might see resistance, and we could probably chuck some in right now just as reference. Let me just get my horizontal line out here. So by the way, the previous all-time high I think was about 25 cents, was it? So we've got a long way to go yet, guys, even just to get to there. And once we get there, guys, and we see a bit of resistance and topple over the top of that, I think we're in massive price discovery mode for this one. I'm really excited about Zilliqa's end performance in the next few months before a potential bear market. But who knows where and when these bear markets will go. I mean, we're in a massive adoption phase right now in a lot of these crypto assets, so who knows. But here we are right now. So where are we looking in terms of potential opportunities for selling if you are into that aspect? I do think we're going to see some kind of resistance around this area, and that kind of matches up very near to the longer term fib retracement we've got here on the left hand side. So I'm just going to put something just around about here. So it's not far off actually where we currently are. So, you know, that's kind of floating around 11, I would call that 11.5 cents. So as we approach that, maybe even tomorrow, we might see a bit of resistance there just from historic information. And that goes back even to these points back here as well. You see there's quite a lot of touch points along these areas. So I'm really interested to see how the chart reacts to that. And then above that, yeah, I don't want to go too far into the future, but let's just let's see if we can find a nice area. I know there's a couple of points here, but I think that's too obvious. So I just want to find someone that's quite a lot of little touch points in between. I think that's probably a good one because we've got a lot of tip overs here back in February, some potential tie downs here in March, and then across here in May and June as well, and then quite recently in August. So I'm interested in those two areas. So it'd be quite interesting to see if we get a bounce off here, and then we might have a bit of a tail down of a correction. So actually what I'm going to do is just pre-plan this. This is what I would do personally if I had some available. It's not financial advice or anything, but I'm just going on a you know, anticipation of what this might do. So obviously we're in this kind of area anyway, so it's not kind of drawing it for the sake of it right now. It's more actually if we get to these kind of levels on these three stages, we might see the pullback. So if we get to this stage, I think we might get some resistance and a bit of a pull down. But I do think that there is an opportunity if you look along this line kind of here as well, you know, just above that 10 cent mark again. I know it sounds annoying to come back down to these 10 cent levels, but that could be an area to come back to. I'm not expecting that to happen maybe in the next day or two, but it could be a gradual reduction before another kick up again, as we try and take control of these 11.5, you know, 12 or just over the 12 cent mark, and then straight into that higher end towards 13 cents. So once we get to these guys, I think there's good intake and we could start pushing up to 15 cents quite quickly. Hopefully we could see that. I reckon around like maybe mid or third week of November, we might be pushing that 15 cents again. Let us know what you think in the comments below about that. But I think we're on the schedule now, the nice bullish momentum and the nice correctional aspects of Zilliqa are really appeasing to me. And I think we're just going to have a nice gradual movement upwards. And of course there will come a point, you know, where Bitcoin wants to take some profits, you know, Bitcoin holders and everything. That will be short-lived. I don't think we'll see a gigantic correction. We might see something similar to this, but in a shorter term, and then another kick up. So as we get into December, I think, you know, we might start seeing those kind of moves before big sort of parabolic runs occur. Performance wise, guys, on the right hand side that you can see here, 21% up on the week, which is absolutely fantastic. It's such a different scale to what we were looking at Zilliqa a couple of weeks back. Year to date, obviously still up. It's not massive, but the 1 year mark of 514% is certainly showing signs that this is going, albeit maybe slow. And I have said in previous videos, be patient with Zilliqa. It's a massive project, great potential. I, for one, like I said, am holding this and operating accumulation perspectives to, I'm talking about maybe 3 or 4 years time. Now, there's a lot of people out there may have got Zilliqa a long time ago and are looking to do something this year. Absolutely fine. Don't you know, jump into what all these channels are doing and you know, making split decisions on what people are saying. Like, do your own research and also think about you know, your strategy. What's your gains momentum? What's your gains mentality? You know, what are you comfortable with? Because you might be at different positions. Okay, it's very difficult for channels, including ourselves, to just go, oh, you should buy and sell at these points immediately. It's really a question of where you are in your journey. But all we can do is obviously provide opinions on what we would do if we had these kind of positions right now and we got in when we did. I mean, I was getting Zilliqa probably around that 1 and 2 cent mark. So had some great runs earlier this year, of course. The drop downs come, which was a bit disappointing, of course, and it's been slow, we'll admit that, but I'm very patient with this project. It's absolutely phenomenal. But guys, let us know when you got into Zilliqa, what price point did you get into? And before we wrap this up, guys, the RSI here floating around 62. Guys, there's so much room in the tank here. I truly believe we'll get to that 15 cent mark in the next couple of weeks or so, in a gradual move. But yeah, certainly in the short term, as in the next 2-3 days, we may get a bit of a pullback here. But I think with the momentum of the project of ARK especially, I wouldn't be surprised to see us push over that 11.5 cents and maybe even to the 13 sooner rather than later. But guys, we'll wrap that up there, and we'll see you guys in the next Zilliqa video in a couple of days time, and we'll do a reflection more so on the ARK project even more. Thanks guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.